All right, next up we got is this player a Hall of Famer? And the first one we got is Deron Williams. He played 14 seasons, averaged about 16 and 8, three All Stars in the consecutive years, 2010 to 2012, and he was a two-time All NBA second team player. You want this or you
All
want me
right,
to start this?
I'll go first on this one because I was a Deron Williams guy. Like for a while, I was.
All right, wait, first, you got to say who you had in the debate. Was it at the time? Was it Chris Paul or
Oh,
was it
CP.
Darren Williams? You had CP the whole
I
time?
had CP.
Okay.
I had CP. I had CP, but I was a Deron Williams fan because that's around the time like when he was in college basketball was around the time I started paying attention to basketball. Period. And my
Mm-hmm.
dad is a huge U of I fan, and if you know, you know, like that
Nasty.
team was like they was like that. So when we got to the Jazz, I think it was still more of a conversation, but people was like, it's not a conversation at all. Like da da da. Like the fact that at any point you were like back and forth, like as the best PG in the league with Chris Paul, and that was for they was
Says a
having that
lot.
debate for longer than that, like 2010 to 2012 time frame. They both came to the league in
Yeah.
like '05, and other than they first year, like where Darren Williams was like getting his feet wet and stuff like that, Chris Paul was obviously better, like way like what people say cleared him like his first year, and then after that it was just more of a conversation. I still think CP had the edge just because he was just like CP's like that. The fact that he's still playing now, put it like that. Darren Williams been out the league for like at least 3-4 seasons at this point, if not more than that. And CP still playing at a high level, not like as high as he was before, but at a high level. Um, but yeah, like you said, I don't know why I felt like it was at least like 5 All Stars, like 5-time NBA All NBA. I think that at the time too, if they did voting now, how they did voting then, I think he might have made a few more of them because that's back
Mm.
when they was just like at least voting wise, it felt like they were going strictly like, are we
As
doing
point
three
guard.
point guards, three shooting guards, three small forwards, three power forwards, three centers. That's how we doing it. Like
Yeah.
that just seems like the way that it was shaking out. Maybe like forwards was a little bit more like they was probably putting like two power forwards and two small forwards if they could get away with it. But back then, like I really feel it was like, nah, 1 point guard legit on each team. That's how we doing it. That's just the way that we doing it. But as we like move forward with like positionless basketball, like obviously those things change and they like develop and stuff. But um I don't think he's a Hall of Famer right now. I think they go off of resumes, and I think his resume isn't there enough for him to be like a Hall of Famer. It's not like he was able to like come in and steal a chip or like get a few more All NBA teams. I think like legit maybe like 2 or 3 more All NBA teams, like then he could be in that conversation. But I
Yeah.
think especially like first ballot Hall of Famer, I don't know. Unless they really look at what he did at U of I, it was like, hey man, y'all was he was cooking a little bit of U of I, but like even
That,
still, it's not like right. You like I don't know, man.
that was
But I
that.
said no. I said no for that one. Just because nah, I don't think he has enough on his resume for him to do that.
Mm-mm.
He also like the thing about Darren Williams, bro. He fell off a cliff randomly,
Hard.
like hard. Like he obviously coming like getting traded out of Utah to go to Brooklyn. Like he was still hooping for like what like, and not even hooping Darren Williams ever hooping. Just like okay, you still like a really good point guard. If we build around you, maybe we can make something shape. But he had like old ass KG, old ass Paul Pierce. Like they didn't give him nobody either. But he was also like trying to backpack, and then out of nowhere he just fell off. Like legit, it feels like he went from like at least a semi household name to like, oh damn, he's still in the league.
Yeah.
Like I didn't
He
I
shaved
know
his
he's still in the
head and
league.
just I was like, yo, who the fuck is that?
Maybe it was the power of the hair or something, man. Like
It'd
going
be
from having like wavy the
waves.
old pretty boy wavy hair to being bald probably took his powers away or something. But like I don't like for just how if you watched him, you know how good he was. He's going back and forth on nights with like Kobe Bryant,
Yeah.
who we know who Kobe is. Like Kobe had a lot of battles with people, but if you're going head to head with Kobe, you're not a scrub. Like by any means, you're not a scrub, and you should realistically be on that plane where like if even Kobe looking at you like, hey,
Motherfucker
he one of
cold.
them
Like
ones, like he one of them ones. Then he should be a Hall of Famer, but I think his longevity, at least how long his peak lasted, it wasn't long enough for him to get anything. Like I said, I still think he should have been able to get a few more All NBA teams Cause like that Jazz, well, he had a nice squad with the Jazz for a while with like Carlos Boozer, Kyle Korver, Paul Millsap, like AK-47. I ain't gonna say they had a whip because the West has always been tough, but they were always like he always had a really good team, no matter what. And then he was obviously, like like you said, career 16-8 is crazy
That's
for
hard for
somebody
for
who
14
longevity
seasons.
wasn't there. For 14 seasons, 16-8 for somebody who like given he probably didn't play as much that back half damn near, but who he was at his peak, you want to watch that play and be like, oh, this is like a Hall of Fame type guy. But then you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
about the fact that Tracy McGrady barely made that bitch, and Tracy was hooping for a really long time at a really high level.
yeah.
I say no for that. Like, if I really wish he just had like, I wanted to say yes for him. Of the names we had, he was one of like, he was kind of the one I was like, oh, he probably gonna be like off the rip, just like doing like just you go off like name value, look at it like he's probably the
Yeah.
best one at the peak, and you look like, ooh,
Yeah, it wasn't looking too good for the rest of them after him.
bruh.
But I'm probably agree. I'm probably say nah. It just I don't know. 14 seasons, as good as he was, I feel like 14 seasons and all you came out of that with. I don't want to say all because it's a good accomplishment, but three All Stars
Yeah,
and two second team NBAs. Like
it's a
I
little
can't.
ugly.
I can't. He put up great numbers. And they were always winning teams in Utah. Like it wasn't enough. It was close. It was close as hell. I think if he squeezed in with a first team All NBA somewhere in there, maybe
Like,
a few more All Stars, maybe like
I want
possibly
to look,
he.
I
Go
want
ahead.
to look it up, but I feel like he was All NBA 3 years, right? You said it's those
He was
2010
All
to
NBA 2 years and All Star 3 years.
2 years, All Star 3 years. I feel like those 2 years he was All NBA. The point guard on the first team had to be Chris Paul.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it had to be Chris Paul, especially those years, like 11 and 12. Like, CP was CP.
I, f- I
And
feel
like,
like
but
I
at the
feel like that
time, he
hurts him a
also,
little bit because Chris
yeah,
Paul, like y'all were on the same trajectory and you just fell off and Chris Paul is still
yeah.
steady. He's
I
still
mean,
competing.
I feel like that CP also has always been quick. They both had that like, are we quick? We got the handle. We can both pass. He was a better
Mhm.
shooter than CP too.
Yeah,
That's the one thing everybody used to hang their hat on. Like, he's a better like shooter. Well, but yeah, but CP is also a better defender. But they around the same as a playmaker. But CP probably a little bit more able to make something out of nothing. Like, you think of
mhm.
who he was like, he's averaging like these 10, 11, 6 seasons. He's not passing the ball to a whole lot of shooters other than Stojakovic, who he had for a
Yeah.
minute. Like, then
He
you
had the
see
little
why like people like that. It's not like he was a scrub either though. So I don't want people
uh,
to like to take this the wrong way. Like, we should know Derek Williams if they
it's
watching this, but like
it's
if
close. It's
Derek,
hard to get it for me. I feel like it should be harder to get into the Hall of Fame, and that should be a
it
testament
could.
to it. Of like, hey, bro,
I feel
like
like
if he not getting in, it's hard. Like,
it's a lot of people who still ain't in the Hall of Fame. I feel like, or it took a long time for them to get into it.
yeah,
'Cause
multiple
am I,
tries.
am I tweaking, or is Chauncey just now, like just recently made it, or he still
I
hasn't been
think
in yet? Chauncey Billups.
I'm not sure, but th- that's what would have been my question. I think he either just got in or he's still
I
trying
think
to get in.
either way it go, the fact that he like the fact we're even having that conversation where we don't know like off
Yeah,
the top
Chauncey
of our
Billups.
heads either. Like, that's how hard it should be. But like, this is a guy who got a chip, like
He
who's
got a
able to
Finals
get it.
MVP.
You feel me? Like,
He got a Finals
Mr. Big Shot, dude.
Uh,
Chauncey, bro, we gotta have a conversation about Chauncey one day, bro.
we
We
can.
gonna have to have a conversation.
He'll be on the next one because I had to do my but because the beginning of his career started off a little rocky. Like he didn't come out
Yeah,
the gate. I think like his first couple seasons, he was trying to find his foot, and he was on like the Celtics for a minute, I
yeah,
think, or something, and
yeah. I think he
really
started off.
trying to find out where he stuck in the league. So, but I'm gonna add him to the next one. So we can go to the next player since we both gave our answer on that one.